So another weekend in the Championship has been concluded, and in today's video we are here to round up all the action. So as always guys, let me know in the comments down below, what did you make of your team's performance this weekend? We got a lot to talk about this weekend because we had a lot of drama going on. We had a lot of the teams at the bottom of the Championship picking up some massive results this weekend. We had an outfield player going in goal. There were some very good goals scored this weekend, and just in general it was a very dramatic weekend in the Championship. So if you guys do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. And just before we do get into talking about any of the individual games, I will include your guys' comments on screen now. So if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, then I will include your comment on screen now. And fair play to everyone who did get one. I managed to get two of my score predictions correct this weekend. They were both the Aston Villa game and the Preston North End game, so that's not too bad going from me. And so we'll kick things off with the Friday night kickoff going on between Aston Villa and Bolton Wanderers, where Villa walked away with a 2-0 home victory. It was a convincing performance from the home side, and I thought that one player we have to give a mention to, it was Jack Grealish. He was absolutely running the show for Aston Villa in this one. Villa managed to take the lead after just 4 minutes. Some great awareness from Tammy Abraham to pick out Jack Grealish, making the run through on goal. He managed to take the ball around the keeper and slot it in to make it 1-0 to Villa. So far this season, I've not been overly convinced by Jack Grealish. I think he's gone missing for some games, hasn't really been as influential as we all know he can be in a Villa shirt, but in this game, he was absolutely brilliant, running the show for Villa, making them tick in midfield. And some of Aston Villa's passages of play in this game were absolutely brilliant to watch. I've got to say, though, I thought that Bolton got quite unlucky not to grab a goal in this game. They were getting into some really good areas for this one. They just weren't very clinical when they did get into those areas. James Chester for Aston Villa also had an absolutely terrific game in this one. He made one unbelievable goal line clearance. It was sort of an overhead kick. He just swung his leg out at it in mid-flight and managed to tip it over the crossbar to make sure it didn't go into the back of the net. What a clearance that was from James Chester. After that, he then managed to secure the victory for Aston Villa, making it 2-0 to them in the second half. That second goal, Bolton did get quite unlucky with. Really, Chester wasn't in an offside position, and so that goal shouldn't have stood. But even so, it was a very convincing performance from the home side, whereas Bolton, this winless run continues for them now. Then we have Blackburn going up against QPR. QPR on a fantastic run in the Championship going into this game, but it was Blackburn who walked away with the 1-0 home victory thanks to a Bradley Dack penalty in the 87th minute. In terms of the game itself, it wasn't a brilliant spectacle. Neither side was really creating the most amount of chances, and really the clear-cut chances in this game were quite few and far between, really. In the first half, Danny Graham had a couple of opportunities to take the lead for Blackburn. In the second half, Naki Wells had a couple of chances for QPR, but apart from that, really, the game didn't have much quality in this one, and it did take a penalty in the 87th minute to go ahead and wrap it up for Blackburn Rovers. This result for Blackburn now, though, only leaves them 1 point off the playoffs. They're on a brilliant run in the Championship of late, and QPR have just slipped down the Championship a little bit. In terms of the whole game, a 0-0 draw probably would have been the fair result, but fair play to Blackburn for showing that resilience towards the end of the game to go ahead and nick it 1-0. And then next up we have Brentford going up against Millwall, where Brentford walked away with a 2-0 home victory. Maybe this will be the game which gets Brentford's season back on track. Coming into this game, Brentford were on a really torrid run of form in the Championship, but this was a very convincing performance against Millwall. I think that this was the Brentford side that we've come accustomed to seeing earlier on in the season. They were creating chances at will in this game. Midfield three were operating very well, and the forward three especially were causing Millwall all sorts of problems. Sergi Canos, Neil Maupay and Ollie Watkins were all playing brilliantly in this one, and it was Neil Maupay and Sergi Canos who linked up for the first goal for Brentford in this game. Maupay playing Canos through on goal, and a very composed finish from him managed to make it 1-0. After that, a very swift counter-attacking move managed to make it 2-0 for Brentford in the 85th minute, and this is what we come to expect from Brentford this season. Fast play through midfield, getting it to wide areas and then cutting inside. A brilliant finish from Ollie Watkins managed to seal the victory for Brentford in this game. For Millwall, it wasn't the best performance we've seen from them as of late. In the past few weeks in the Championship, I think we have been seeing a gradual improvement week in, week out from Millwall, but in this game, they didn't really have much going forward for them. They lost the midfield battle in this one. Brentford had the majority of the possession, and in the end, it was a deserved home victory for them. And then next up, we had Derby County going up against Birmingham City. Birmingham on the longest unbeaten run in the Championship, but it was Derby who walked away with a 3-1 home victory. And in this game, it really was a game of two halves. I thought that Birmingham were looking quite good in the first half. That structured performance that we've come to expect from them. Defensively, they weren't leaving much space in behind. They were pressing to make sure that Derby couldn't really get on the front foot for this game. And it was Birmingham who took the lead. Lucas Djukovic, the man in form for Birmingham at this point in time. A brilliant ball from Jota down the left-hand side into Che Adams. He then cut the ball back across goal, and a very composed finish from Djukovic managed to make it 1-0 after just 10 minutes, and that was the score going into half-time. Going into the second half, though, there was a change in mentality from Derby County. Their football became a lot faster. Bennett got the equaliser in the 53rd minute, and then just 2 minutes later in the 55th minute, from a free kick, Harry Wilson managed to make it 2-1 to Derby County, just sneaking it in at the near post past Lee Camp. It did get a bit of a deflection off, I think, Djukovic in that one. And then Jack Marriott managed to wrap up the game for Derby in the 73rd minute. It was a very convincing performance from Derby in the second half. Two players who I really like the look of in this one. Harry Wilson causing all sorts of problems for Birmingham, and Tom Huddleston as well, I thought had a really positive performance from Derby, like he has done for most games so far this season. They were without Mason Mount in this game, but in the second half, that didn't really matter. So a fantastic performance from Derby County in this one, and that result for Derby now leaves them just just 2 points off automatic promotion at the end of this weekend. And then we saw Hull City beating West Brom by 1-0. West Brom on a really torrid run of form in the Championship currently, and Hull have put together some decent results as of late. We're talking about West Brom first of all, what we come to expect from them so far this season, being the highest scorers in the Championship, some fast play going forward, they've got some brilliant options up there. As of late, that's not really been the case. They struggled to break down Hull in this one, and chances for West Brom were quite few and far between, and although you do have to give Hull a lot of credit for that, so West Brom's plays in this game were really poor. They did have a couple of chances, but it was Hull who were looking the more likely team to score before they eventually did go on and take the lead. Rosicki and Bowen both having good chances, but eventually it was Fraser Campbell who gave Hull the lead just inside the first half in the 38th minute. The ball coming off the crossbar after Jackson Irvine had initially had a header, and Campbell managed to follow it in to make it 1-0 to Hull. When West Brom found themselves 1-0 down going into the second half, I thought that we'd see a massive reaction from them. That wasn't really the case. Hull were absolutely brilliant off the ball to limit West Brom to very few opportunities in this one, and they deserved all 3 points for this one. Been very poor of West Brom lately. Then we had Ipswich going up against Preston, and oh my word, what a dramatic game we had going on this weekend at Portman Road. Obviously, this was Paul Lambert's first game in charge of Ipswich Town. On the whole, I thought it was a very positive performance from the home side, actually. It was a very resilient performance from them. Off the ball, they were working very hard, and they actually got into some decent areas of the pitch to score some goals in this one. I thought we saw a massive improvement, and going forward this season, I think that Paul Lambert does give Ipswich a chance on the whole, really. It was Ipswich who took the lead in this game in the 45th minute from Freddie Sears from the penalty spot. The penalty itself, maybe that's up for debate. What Josh Earl is doing, playing the back pass to Chris Maxwell from the halfway line, I have absolutely no idea. Maxwell tries to get himself out of trouble, ends up bringing down Roberts. When you watch the replay incredibly slowed down, it does look like Maxwell does get a bit of a touch on the ball, so maybe we got a little bit unlucky there, but in that situation, when the ref sees the goalkeeper coming out and the play goes down the box, usually only one thing does happen. So then into the second half, Preston introduced Paul Gallagher into the game, and with his first touch of the ball, manages to make the scoreline 1-1 from a free kick. And then just a minute after Gallagher had scored the equaliser, stupidly Chris Maxwell comes out of his goal, makes a rash challenge on the Ipswich player down the left-hand side of the pitch, and then is sent off with a second yellow card. Then we have 50 minutes of the game still to play. We've used all 3 of our substitutions, and so Paul Gallagher, our midfielder, has to go in net for the final 15 minutes. And I'm not going to lie, we look better defensively with Gallagher in net than we did with Maxwell. It was actually a really resilient performance from the last 15 minutes for us. Freddie Sears had one fantastic chance to win it for Ipswich, a dipping volley from the edge of the box, but Gallagher stepped up and clutched it with a fantastic save to go ahead and make sure it remains at 1-1. Preston also had a chance towards the end of the game as well. It was Shawnee Maguire slipping in Lucas Nemecha, but Nemecha took a little bit too long with the finish in the end, and the Ipswich player managed to recover, and in the end it did finish as a 1-1 draw. So a very dramatic game at Portman Road. Ipswich on the whole, I think there is positives to take from this game. Under Paul Lambert this season, I think they will go in the right direction. And then we had Nottingham Forest beating Sheff United by 1-0. Going into this weekend, we had Sheff United sat top of the Championship. That's no longer the case, of course, but in terms of this game for both sides, I didn't think it was the best performance from either side, really, but Forest walking away with a victory, which does now see them going into the top 6 in the Championship. For this game, I thought that the back 3 Sheff United played well. Defensively, Forest were also looking very sound for this one, but going forward, both sides were sort of struggling to create any real clear-cut opportunities. Most of the chances for this game were falling to players from quite far out, which were just going wide or just going over the bar. There were quite a lot of blocks and interceptions, but in the end it was Lewis Grobban, the man in form for Nottingham Forest, who managed to snatch the only goal of the game. Some nice play down the left-hand side from João Carvalho from Nottingham Forest, flashes the ball across the box, and then Lewis Grobban just nods it in to make it 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. After that, it was a very resolute performance from Forest to not allow Sheff United back into this game. They had a couple of chances late on. Billy Sharp had a header just go wide, and they had sort of a goal-mouth scramble very late on into this game, but in the end it did finish as a 1-0 home victory. So a massive 3 points for Forest in that one. Not the best for Sheff United, especially going into a derby this weekend. And then a really crazy game this weekend between Reading and Bristol City, with the home side walking away with all 3 points with a 3-2 home victory. Neither side was at their best defensively for this game, I think that's fair to say, really. In the first half, Bristol City came from behind twice to make it 2-2 going into half-time, but in the end it was Bakuna who stepped up with the winner for Reading. It was Yakumete, though, who took the lead for Reading in the 8th minute. He's sort of been their talisman so far this season, scoring some really big goals for Reading, and we've seen so far this season that when they are quite attack-minded at home, they are capable of outscoring the opposition. Defensively, you never really have much faith in them, but going forward, they can score goals. Marlon Pack, though, managed to get Bristol City back into the game. A fantastic ball through from Jack Hunt, and Pack managed to go ahead and coolly finish off that. Then in the 45th minute, it was Liam Kelly with a bending effort from outside the box, managed to make it 2-1 to Reading, and then not long after that, Josh Brownhill managed to make it 2-2 going into half-time. And the goal that won it for Reading was quite a nice team move, actually. A counter-attacking move down the left-hand side, Modou Barrow and Bakuna linking up with a 1-2. There were 5 players in the box for Bristol City, which is a disappointment for them because I thought that they could have probably done something about it. But a very composed finish managed to mean that Reading walked away with all 3 points. And considering some of the other teams picking up big results this weekend at the bottom of the Championship, 3 points for Reading in this one will be massive for them. And another team at the bottom of the Championship picking up all 3 points this weekend was Rotherham United. Somehow they managed to walk away with a 2-1 home victory over Swansea City, and I say somehow because I thought that Swansea were actually really good for this game, and Rotherham were pretty much second best for the majority of it really. Swansea managed to take the lead after 25 minutes, so nice link-up play between James and McBurney making it 1-0 to Swansea. So far this season we have seen a couple of instances with this with Swansea where they absolutely dominate a team, but they can't finish them off. They should have got a second goal in this game with some of the other opportunities they created. Fair play to Rotherham though, they were quite resolute with how they sat in for the majority of this game. Rodak popped up with some massive save to go ahead and deny Swansea. And with Rotherham only having 28% possession, it was Swansea who were really dominating for this game, and if they did go on to get that second goal, I think that would have probably killed off Rotherham and there wouldn't have been a comeback. But in the 79th minute the game was flipped on its head when Rotherham were awarded a penalty. Ryan Manning managed to pop that away, and then in the 87th minute they were awarded a second penalty, and in the end the game was completely flipped on its head and Rotherham walked away with a 2-1 home victory. In terms of the penalties themselves, I can see why they were given. The first one I thought maybe looked a little bit soft, but even so, the referee went ahead and gave it, and it finished 2-1 Rotherham in the end. Swansea themselves, I thought it was a decent performance from them, so they will be disappointed to pick up nothing from this game, but even so, they probably went ahead and shot themselves in their own foot as they weren't clinical enough with some of the chances they created. And then we saw Norwich City go ahead and batter Sheff Wednesday by 4-0. This result now leaves Sheff Wednesday 17th in the Championship, and they are on a really torrid run of form currently. Once again, it was quite similar for Sheff Wednesday, the game they had last time against Birmingham. First off, I didn't actually think they were that bad. They created some decent chances going forward, and Norwich had a couple of goalman scrambles to go ahead and get the ball away. Norwich had one fantastic chance to take the lead in the first half though, Mario Vrancic with a penalty, and there just seems to be something with Norwich and taking lacklustre penalties this season. We've already seen Jordan Rhodes miss a couple of them, but in this game obviously Jordan Rhodes couldn't play, so Vrancic stepped up to take it, and it was a really poor penalty, and in the end it was 0-0 going into half time. Josh Onomah had some fantastic chances for Wednesday in that half to go ahead and take the lead for them. In the second half though, Norwich absolutely ran away with this game. Some of their build-up play was absolutely fantastic, and I'll be the first person to admit I didn't see this from Norwich this season. They have been absolutely brilliant to watch lately. Their build-up play has been fast, exciting to watch. You know, last time under Daniel Farke, sometimes it was slow, monotonous. Everything wrong with Norwich last season has not been the case with them this season, and as soon as Timu Pukki took the lead for Norwich in the 51st minute, it sort of became like a training exercise really. Defensively, Sheff Wednesday were absolutely all over the place. How easy it was for Norwich to go ahead and get in behind this Wednesday defence was absolutely criminal at times, especially for the fourth goal with Dennis Shrabeni going ahead and just meandering past everyone, and of course slotting it into the back of the net to make it 4-0 to Norwich City. And it is crazy how fast things can change in the Championship. Temporarily Norwich were top of the Championship, and Sheff Wednesday currently only 4 points off the relegation zone, which is absolutely crazy. Sheff Wednesday fans will be very interested to hear from you guys as to what's your current opinion of the squad, the manager, everything currently going on at the club. Obviously a massive game coming up for you next weekend against Sheffield United, but for this game defensively Sheff Wednesday all over the place currently, but Norwich, wow, they've been good so far. We saw the evening kickoff on Saturday end as a goalless draw between Stoke City and Middlesbrough, and I mean, first of all, we have to talk about it. Jordan Hugill had an absolutely golden chance to give Middlesbrough all 3 points in this one, but Jack Butland expertly denied him. He was sent through on goal, managed to skip away from Ryan Shawcross, was bearing down on goal, and somehow Jack Butland managed to get down to it and deny Jordan Hugill from making it 1-0. And we saw that a couple of times from Jordan Hugill at Preston. You know, he's not really a prolific striker, especially in one-on-one situations. He's not really a natural finisher in that sense, and I'd be interested to know from Middlesbrough fans, what have you actually made of Jordan Hugill with the appearances he's had for you so far? Let me know down below. But Stoke City themselves got in some decent areas for this game. Cummins, Benicophobia especially getting some decent goal scoring opportunities, but of course we are all aware of how good Middlesbrough's defence has been so far this season, and so for them to keep another clean sheet in this game didn't really come as a massive surprise to us. And at the other end of the pitch though, Jack Butland I thought popped up with some big saves for Stoke City. I think that picking up clean sheets now fairly consistently for Stoke is definitely a positive for them to take forward. You know, earlier on in the season in the Championship we were seeing them conceding goals at will really. They were having sloppy basic defensive errors. Seemingly they have been getting them cut out of their game, and slowly Stoke are building in the right direction I think under Garrow in the Championship. A 0-0 draw didn't really do anyone a massive favour for this game, but an interesting one to watch nevertheless. Both sides had some decent chances. And then as our final game to talk about, we had the Sunday game going on between Wigan Athletic and Leeds United, where it was the away side who walked away with all 3 points with a convincing 2-1 away victory. And obviously with Leeds being on TV a lot so far this season, I've been able to watch them quite a bit, and I must say I really do enjoy watching them play. It was quite a fast start to this game though. Wigan managed to take the lead just 6 minutes into it. Reece James from a free kick managed to make it 1-0 to Wigan. It only took Leeds 3 minutes to get back into the game though through Pablo Hernandez. Barry Douglas on the left hand side saw the run of Click, managed to play the ball into him. Click then plays the ball back across the goal, and Pablo Hernandez pokes it in to make it 1-1. Going into the second half, we then saw Leeds really dominate that half really. They managed to take the lead soon into that half through Kemar Roof, and oh my word, I mean Leeds were absolutely gifted this goal. A defensive mix-up from Wigan's Wigan's defence. I think it was Kipper and Walton mixing it up for Wigan in this one, and Kamal Roof was literally just left with an open net to go ahead and slot the ball into. After Leeds did make it 2-1, Wigan had a couple other chances to go ahead and get back into the game, but realistically it was Leeds who bossed that half really. If anyone was going to score another goal, it was probably going to be Leeds making it 3-1. They had some fantastic chances in that half. Walton had to be kept on his toes, they hit the post as well. And overall it was a very satisfying performance from Leeds United. Some of their build-up play is absolutely fantastic to watch. Off the ball they work incredibly hard to win the ball back. High up the pitch, it really is a good style of football to watch under Bielsa this season, and that 3 points for Leeds now sends them back to the top of the Championship. But guys, there you have it. There were all the Championship games that did take place this weekend. So as always, let me know in the comments down below, what do you make of your team's performance this weekend? In terms of my results on the weekend, quite a few contenders for this one. I'm just going to give it to Derby County for getting a 3-1 home victory over Birmingham City, for going ahead and ending the longest unbeaten run in the whole of the Championship. And so I was close to giving it to Norwich as well. That was a fantastic result, but for me personally, I'm going to give it to Derby County. And then for my goal of the weekend, once again, quite a few contenders for this one. Myself, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Liam Kelly of Reading for his goal against Bristol City. A really nice killing effort into the top corner against Bristol City. So that one is going to be my goal of the weekend. But guys, that will go ahead and wrap it up for this video. So if you did go on to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. Make sure you leave a comment in the comments down below as to everything you made of this weekend's action. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.